Education is the key to unlock the world. Education is not a preparation for life, education is life itself. And every expert in their life was once a beginner. So let's begin. Give a wings to the strays and let it fly away. Greetings to all, everyone here, parents, teachers, and dear students. I, Shiv Prasad Patel, on behalf of DM School, feel honored to welcome everyone to this webinar. Though this webinar, we are specially focusing on dealing with exam stress. After the pandemic, now students are facing school system once again. They are back to school and the examination is going on. So the feelings that is there among the students, parents, and teachers is the crisis of preparing for the examination. For the examination, they may stress because right now we are moving from online to offline system to a new normal. So because of that, today's webinar is all about providing support and resources to help teachers, parents, and students throughout this stressful situation. To take forward this discussion, in this webinar, we have with us a ghost gathering of panelists, speakers, and experts in the field of education and mental health. Let me take the opportunity to introduce to all of our speakers for today's webinar. First, I would like to welcome Dr. K.B. Rath, former principal of RIE Bhubaneswar. Sir needs absolutely no introduction. He is the pioneer of guidance and counseling program for RIE Bhubaneswar and Ajmer. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
On the other hand, we have Professor Rama, Head of Department of Education and Coordinator of Guidance and Counseling Program, RIE Bhubaneswar. I welcome you, madam.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Namaskar.
I welcome Dr. Dhanya Krishnan, Assistant Professor, Department of Extension Education, RIE Bhubaneswar. I welcome you, madam.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
I also like to welcome Sir Sri Akhileshwar Mishra, Sir Headmaster, DM School, Bhubaneswar.
Namaskar. Thank you.
If you have any questions and queries, you can ask your questions while putting your questions in a comment box or chat box. So we will discuss all the queries with our panelists. I would like to request our respected headmaster, Sri Akhileshwar Mishra, sir, to begin the webinar. Sir.
A very good afternoon, all parents, teachers, my dear students, and also my co-panelists. Although examination season is going to begin now, but this particular webinar does not only intend to provide support for this examination, the examinations which are forthcoming, but also the examinations otherwise. Entire session, entire life, we have to face examinations, and then how to win over the stress which we assume is created by the exams. Whatever we say, whether the stress because of examination is natural or it's created, but the fact remains the stress is there. There may be n number of reasons, peer group, there can be expectations of teachers, there may be aspirations of parents, society. There may be aspirations of curricula. So many things may contribute to it, and above all, also the self ambition of the students. But the fact remains the stress is there. There are umpteen number of studies which are conducted for stress being caused on the students and also the anxiety that is created at school level, at college level, and there are so many researches which are done in India and also abroad. So this seems to be high time that we try to threadbare understand as to why this stress, whether the stress is desired, and if at all, whether it is permissible to the degree to which it stands today. I am only to open the discussion now, but yes, I would like the parents and teachers in particular and also the students to listen to the webinar to understand how much of the stress, if it is there, is valid and permissible, and whether anxiety at all is required when we talk of the exams. Although the new thoughts, the new school of thought, which have basically promulgated the new education policy, talks very clearly of having a clear-cut shift, a very clear shift, and probably a radical shift from content to competency. Rather than concentrating on the content, which become irrelevant after some time, we have to really be focusing on the competency development, which is going to remain till the last breath. And then how does this happen? This happens with curriculum. This happens with the policy. Policy is already in the place. Curriculum is in the offing, and the training and the orientations will be following. But then probably the stakeholders, two major stakeholders, the parents and the children, they always remain out of the ambit of this entire development, because hardly there are orientations to the children, students, hardly there are orientations, mass level orientation to the parents. That's why this entire thought came. We must be addressing this, where students and parents, as many students and parents, can listen to this, and they will also be able to relocate their position, because policies may change, curriculum may change, pedagogies may change. Unless the orientation of the stakeholders change, this does not bring the right fruits. With these words, over to Mr. Patel for further discussions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I would like to ask my first question to Gaurama madam. As a teacher or as a counselor, we always like to understand students to fulfill their needs. So, what are the reasons that can cause exam stress among students? Madam, can you please make a light on such things that we can help our teachers and parents to understand the students as well?
Yes, Shri Prasad. Thank you so much. Respected panelists, beloved teachers and parents, and my loving students. The topic is very well conceived, that win over exam stress. We know the term exam does create stress in not just in students but also among teachers and parents. So this webinar is conceived to provide certain support to specifically to teachers and parents who are the real support system to students when they prepare or when they throughout their journey of their academic pursuit in the school. As the headmaster rightly pointed out, exam is not just during the end of the year for students. And it is not just for students, exam is part of our life. If we think of anything we do, there is something we expect at the end as a result, and the same is there at the end of exam also, we expect a result. So if you think of some very simple things like cooking, traveling, also is a kind of exam, because we need to plan, we need to prepare, we need to execute step by step procedure, and then we face it, and we are sure of the result if we are following all the steps meticulously and with all our heart and soul into it. It is the same the way we take exam in the school also. If we can bring in this kind of a angle for exam, then it will be definitely a different it's a beautiful procedure, or it's a nice experience for children. I remember once when our Prime Minister was addressing students, he was mentioning take exams as a festival. Yes, Diwali is coming now, and what is our feeling towards the festival Diwali? Yes, we are so happy. Is there the same feeling when we think of exam? I know some of you may have, but majority will have a certain anxiety, some stress, some difficult feeling when they think of exam. So I was thinking, why festival is giving such positive emotions to us? Yes, we have new clothes, nice food to eat, and we have our loved people with us. We share fun time with them. Probably these are the things which gives a positivity towards looking at a festival. But for exam, what is that which we have created as exam? So the first reason for the exam stress is mainly the way we perceive exam. Exam is perceived as something that is going to judge me. So usually, if we think of in our day-to-day lives also, we don't usually like other people judging us, commenting on us, and comparing us. That is what this exam does, and probably that is one of the reason. And if we can perceive exam from a different point of view, like it is very useful, it is very interesting, I know what I have learned, how is it benefiting me, because of exam I am organizing my life, I am going to do better, I am going to learn something which is helping me to my future. If I think the details will be given up by the panelists in the further discussion. I'll just focus upon the cause. This is one of the cause I perceive as causing stress. And of course, the societal angle of the cutthroat competition which is persisting in the society, it is being perpetuated in the society from long time, that through exam the marks are the criteria to judge upon the individual to get a job or get a seat in higher education, or even get some appreciation also. So here we fail to look at the other important characteristics or qualities of the individual. Rather, this examination, what we are referring to now in the education system, is mainly focusing upon the academic aspect or the result of the exam. That is one cause of stress. The next one I would like to say is, children always feel that anybody for that matter, how much ever preparation has been done, they still feel that I am not prepared yet. So this is another reason they feel lack of preparation. And we know as teachers and parents, what I'm sure the panelists will guide on the specific strategies to deal with these things. So not being prepared is one thing, it constantly haunts the children. Even parents think my child is not prepared yet, it's not enough, and teachers also have the same stress. Oh, this student needs much more preparation, this student has not prepared enough. So all this being not prepared felt by the student and received from the significant people in the life of the student also add to the stress. The next one I can list as availability of resource. So I don't have good materials, I have not prepared notes, I should have something ready to fall back during the time of exam, which I have to be preparing. So this resource support, it may be in the form of material, text material or audio material or anything to support or prepare for exam, or it could be sometimes the infrastructure, also a calm place to sit and study the time I want to devote for exam, and also a social support in the form of adult guidance. It may be they need mentors, they need some scaffolding at the time of exam, like if they have any doubt, they need somebody to quickly get cleared about the doubt. It's regarding the concept or the way of writing the answer or anything. They need that support. In addition, they also need some emotional, psychological support from the people around. It may be friend, a parent or a teacher giving some positive assurance, giving some positive words like, yes, you are ready, you can do it, you do your best, whatever you have prepared, something like that. That kind of support also is, the children feel that I don't have anybody to talk to when I am stressed. When I think of the exam, this could be one of the reason. And also I would just end with another cause which I usually see is the situation of the exam. Like usually it is a very unfamiliar situation, because especially it is true when the board exams are written, students have to go to a different place, and sometimes the invigilators or the people who are there also are unfamiliar to the students. That also may create a little anxiety in them to find the place and the location. And especially it is true with some students who have some difficulties. For example, children with the disabilities do have certain provisions and they would have applied beforehand, but they are not sure where is their room given. Is it close to like the glaring light? Some do not want light, they want a darker space for adjusting their way of writing. And some children, they may not know, they may not have asked. Some may ask that they want to stay away from the distractive place like the door or the window, away from the noise and all that. So where is my place? How do, because the child knows I will better write in a place where light is less. They may not have told they may not have given a request to the administrators to give that kind of a place. So all these things create that trouble and the unknown. And of course the question paper which comes during the exam is very, very unknown, and that is another reason. Especially this unfamiliarity of the situation is another reason for the stress. So this, it is all about the stress is expected and it is known, and it is all about getting better at stress. And that's what we want our teachers, parents and children to be doing, not to do away with the stress, but to be better at stress. Yes, Shiv Prasad.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for your. We would like to choose Dhanya madam for the next question actually. So, madam, how can we, specifically teachers and parents, can be a support system for the students to reduce exam stress?
Thank you, Shiv Prasad, for such a interesting question, and respected panelists and teachers and my dear students and parents. Support system is something that which always we look forward to, whether it is related to exam or if it is about the teaching learning process or in any of the life situation as well. Basically, the support is to help the children to make them capable of self-regulating their own emotions. It's rather than we are helping them directly, we are helping the children to understand how they can cope up or they handle with the situation. So here basically for parents and teachers, the first thing probably we can do is that by ourselves stay calm and composed. Because we know when children are writing exams or when they are preparing, then parents are stressed and teachers as well. So staying calm and composed would be the first thing that we can do. And I'm just taking the point from what Gaurama ma'am was just talking about, the reasons of stress in children, especially related to exam, that she was saying that the different reasons she has listed out. So the first point is that how are we going to identify that the children are stressed? Of course, as HM said, it's a fact that children are anxious, and it's something very natural. So the stress could be manifested in different ways. There are children, probably they have certain headaches during examination or just before the exam. There are children, they complaints or they feel they have the stomach ache, some kind of physical disease in the form of disease, or some kind of eating abnormality. There are some people, they like to eat more when they are stressed, or there are some people, they have loss of appetite during exams and during any stressful situation per se. So identifying the children with stress, and even the extent of stress could be different. There are many studies which says that to some degree of stress or anxiety could be desirable as well. That helps us to prepare better and perform better. But to what extent? So identifying the stress and the extent of stress among the children could be the first and foremost thing that as parents or the teachers we should do. Then, as ma'am said, it is that exam has been perceived as a so-called demon. So, as we were joking just before the panel discussion, that de-demonizing exam. What exactly exam is? We may have to reconceptualize exam or redefine exam as well. If we consider it as only as a process of checking our memory or our so-called cognitive understanding, then probably that is which is causing stress as well. So the perception about exam, and it's not that easy task because it is prevailed in the society and it is deep rooted. So probably that we have to work towards and making our children understand that it is a process and it's a regular activity of making them understand their own strength and the areas where they can improve upon. So probably that is what which is very, very significant for us to feel stress free. Then in fact be there with children could be the most fruitful thing that as parents that we can do. Many times children look forward to some adults who we can rely upon. So there are some trustworthy people where we can express our concerns and anxiety. The children are looking forward to it. So being there with children in this particular journey, it's not only during the exam as Headmaster Sir was pointing out, it's throughout the process. If they get a feeling that, yeah, along with me my parents are there or the teachers, they support me, then probably that feeling itself can make them anxious free. And at the same time, there are certain people, they say, don't worry, it's only exam. So giving a blanket statement like this also may not be so helpful. Probably that they need to have a realistic understanding about the process, and we as a parents and support, we have to equip them with the skill of resilience, coming back to it. Even though in the previous examination, probably the child could not perform well as the expectation from the curricular point of view, expectation of parents, or self-expectation as well. But always for any human being, there is a power of coming back to the system with lots of power of skill of resilience. So probably if we can make the children understand about their own power within to come back and then do better, probably that also could be of help. And here providing an academic environment to children becomes very, very significant, whether it is in the school or in the home environment. When I say in the home environment and say academic environment, it need not be that we are having a special room for the children to sit and then do their activity. Especially in the online learning environment, there were many kind of the difficulties for them to have a space for learning itself. So it is that a kind of a space for children to focus upon, and they can study well with dedication, like a distraction free positive environment at home. It could be that it's not that some people ask, okay, the TV could be switched off for 10 minutes, that months or for some time, then they don't use TV at all, or all the media or the media mobile is switched off for some time. Probably curbing those kind of so-called pleasure of children also may be, may cause stress among them, because they were using it for such a long time and only for the purpose of examination. If we ask them to do it, probably that again creates stress among them. So having a very stipulated time for such kind of a leisure activities, that also may help. And again, at this point of time, some people say that we need not, interact with the other peer group as well. But peer group as a resource to build and exchange ideas, that would be wonderful even to relieve the tension. More than parents or the teachers, especially in the adolescent stage, we all understand that the peer support becomes very significant. Even for preparation for examination, exchanging their ideas and how they study and how they plan for their studies, that would also help them. So we, the parents, have to build the confidence among our own kids, as well as building confidence on and trusting them that they are using the time wisely even when being with the peer group. So the trusting the children also becomes important, with a caution, of course, taking all the precautionary things that kids are utilizing the time properly. So specifically, I say that for the teacher, when it comes, I feel it's the healthy conversation with children. That could be one of the best strategy that could be used to maintain any kind of the relation, to make any anxiety go away, at least to reduce that. Suppose me as a student going to a teacher and then discussing about my concerns and issues and nervousness, and the teacher is so supportive, that teacher is helping them in maybe in providing resources, as ma'am was saying, one of the reason is lack of resource. So probably the teacher is the one who can give the academic resources to a greater extent to the child. So maybe in the form of resources, maybe as like ma'am was suggesting about the preparation is one of the other cause of it. So making them prepared for the examination, or familiarizing with the examination through a mock test, giving more practices on that, having some revision also being scheduled in a way. Even at home we can do that as parents, helping the children or sitting along with the children and preparing a schedule for the revision, especially when the exams are approaching. It could be done from the beginning as well. So sitting with them and preparing it. There may be children, they like to study one subject one day and the next day the other subject. There may be other children, they like to devote 1 hour for one subject and after that maybe for the other. So understanding the specific needs and interest of the child, helping them to come out with a kind of stipulated time and time for them to revise, that may be one of the quickest thing that the parents can do. Again, coming back to teachers, if the pedagogical strategies that we use, if it is fact oriented and content oriented rather than the competency oriented, as HM sir was mentioning, that we are looking forward to it, probably that itself could create a stress among children, that they have to remember it and then have to reproduce it on the paper. If the strategy itself could be designed by the teachers, that wherein challenging situations were created and children are engaged in the learning process, then probably the notion of the examination and appearing for the examination may get reduced. So for that, a kind of a creating cognitive link among the link in the minds of children, maybe through certain kinds of diagrammatic representation, maybe in terms of mind map or concept map, having different concepts, and children are encouraged to create the link among them. Probably those kind of strategies could be useful. So I can conclude it, say that maybe the 3 P's could be used here. One could be the practice, and the other could be the planning, and third could be the personal habit of study habits kind of thing. So thank you for listening, and I'm sure that we all together we can win over this exam stress. Thank you, Shiv Prasad.
Thank you, madam. We all agree with those concerns that 3 P's can help these teachers and parents to make this support system more effective. And we also agree with that the emotional and psychological first aid is very much necessary in such situation. I would like to ask our headmaster, Sri Akhileshwar Mishra, sir, how can the school be supportive to create a positivity or positive, we can say that, thought towards exam?
Well, I think enough has been discussed about the examination. As I told in my introductory comments, we as a school we have to have this clear cut shift from being entire process content oriented to the competency oriented. Because when I say a shift from content orientation to competency orientation, that includes itself the curricular planning, the pedagogical approaches, the assessments or evaluations, and then also the expected outcomes. So if we are able to take care of this, then this can be little stress free. Little stress free, I am telling. For this, I would like to share some of the experiences that we have had in recent times. We permitted a window for the students to have some kind of ventilation because the students need to be listened to. In particular, at the age when they are in their adolescence, normally parents and the students, they don't have a kind of complete openness to the extent that the aspirations are same with respect to the parents, with respect to the students and society, but the difficulties are not shared by the students with their parents. However, if we provide an opportunity that can be shared with their peer group, that can be shared with the students, and latest activity that we did, let me speak, that was the activity in which we invited students through a meet that you come out with the difficulties that you are facing, because there are no parents, there are only peer group who are available with the counselor or maybe some teachers. So teachers get lot of things as take home, how to reorient themselves by looking at how the students perceive what is being done. And that I found that's an activity that has to be taken by all the schools as frequently as possible. We also tried to take the parents in the loop. We wanted the parents to steal out some time when they only think of their own children. Because normally what happens, the parents are busy with their own vocation or profession or other engagements, social engagements. They assume a few things. They take children for granted. Children also take parents for granted. There are few things which are understood to have been understood by both the sides, which are basically not correct. So we tried to create an activity for the parents. Please write a letter to your own kid. You express what you feel about your child. And I'm so happy we got umpteen number of letters, many letters, and we were able to see that the letters, those letters themselves speak out that it was a good experiment, that the parent was allowed, rather compelled, to sit and only think of the child while writing the letter, and then he realized that probably I could do it on a regular basis. Initially I am doing on paper, then I can have with my own child. I can express that, look, you got to be more affirmative. I have got all the trust in you. They have written that in letter that they have got the trust and confidence of the child, but the child does not know that my parents have got confidence in me. If that is spelled out, that kind of expressions does strengthen the self-affirmation of the child. Similarly about the teachers. About the teachers, normally the teachers do, but if it is done more frequently, other than the classes in which content or competency development process is going on, if there can be just open sessions where the children speak out the difficulties that they face, and the teacher is able to have a kind of mapping the kind of difficulties students are facing and reinvent some pedagogies which will be more suiting to their requirement. Because we assume, years after years we teach as teachers, we assume that these are time tested because we have never got the other side's opinion, how we are going about this. So if the teachers can do it, that will be great. And look, one thing is very clear, as I told in beginning, there is stress. There is no denying the fact that there is stress. And very rightly mentioned by one of my panelists, stress is also required to some extent. We only need to develop that art in each human being, how to convert the stress into the strength. The stress in well managed individuals, the stress becomes the reason, and that becomes a kind of propelling force for them to achieve better. And now coming as the part of the school, what the school can do. Every school has got its own calendar. It needs to find out some spaces where these things, what I just now mentioned, and the things like this, there can be so many things that can be tried, and all the things which are tried, those which are bringing good results, can be repeated, that they can be multiplied, and role of counselor becomes very, very important. The counselor is lifeline for all such things, especially in case of adolescents, because the counselor can direct them how to go about the preparation part, how to have a systematic study habit, how to have a self-management. Because I personally do not believe in the misnomers like emotional management or time management. You see, time is only 24 hours with everybody. There is nothing to manage. Emotions are very natural, so there is nothing like emotional management. Basically, it's all self-management with respect to time, with respect to emotions, with respect to other challenges that we face in life. And for that, the counselor has to chip in. It has to provide access to all the students. It has to provide access to all the parents, even to the teachers, and be as a supporting factor involving the entire resources which are there at the disposal of students, teachers, including counselor, and with the school as such. But one thing I would like to just now tell, that it's always said that we only excel when there are challenges. So challenges are to be converted into opportunity. That is how I believe. And I am reminded of some words which were written long back by Jaishankar Prasad. Probably I would like to quote it. वह पथ क्या, पथिक कुशलता क्या, जिस पथ पर बिखरे शूल न हो. शूल means कांटे, thorns. वह पथ क्या, पथिक कुशलता क्या, जिस पथ पर बिखरे शूल न हो. नाविक की धैर्य परीक्षा क्या, नाविक की धैर्य परीक्षा क्या, ये धाराएं प्रतिकूल न हो. Rather than preventing the children from the kind of adversity, because that is too much of overprotection, we need to prepare them how to deal with it, how to deal with it successfully, how to come out of all those things being a triumphant. So these things are there which are to be taken care of. Despite that, there will be students who will be emotionally very, very fragile. Their counselors, teachers, parents, headmasters, entire school system, sometimes community, relatives, everybody has to. And our counselor knows. We have also had some cases like this, and then we try to rope in with everyone. And we can always do it. But stress as such, I personally believe, with a degree, acceptable degree, is not going to cause anxiety. It's going to add to our strength. Yes, Shiv Prasad. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We also agree that every difficulties have a beautiful result if we will face the difficulties. We would like to, request our key speaker, KB Dutt sir. That sir, as we know that the future is considered precarious, we probably have a bigger challenge to overcome if we will speak about the mental well-being. So psychological well-being is an essential factor that we everyone know that. To maintaining a calm and comfort, what strategies or what's the ways out there that can help us to adopt and provide a supportive environment to make students feel positive towards exam, specifically exam.
Okay, thank you, Shiv Prasad ji. You tell me the key speaker, but already key things have been explained by my previous panelist. Thank you very much. All my esteemed panelists, my great listener, the parents, the teacher, my dear student. The topic says stress, how to win over the stress that is coming from the examiners. And then who will support us? In the next line, they have written very clearly. They are parents, they are teachers, and they are the peer. Now let's go one by one to understand the actual thing. Because Gaurama madam has said very nicely, life may exam, there are many exams in the life. Okay? Let me extend it further little bit in terms of wording because of the further interpretation. Life itself is an exam. You will see it because life is that span of life is not uniform. There are many events, many things happens in the life where what you are doing, because that times you are tested. The conception is very clearly from the beginning, this fundamental applied to the examination. There the life is testing. What is testing? On a particular context, how you are going to make a balance, harmony, or adjustment with the situation. That means, in a simple part, how you are making a balance between the self and the situation. That is the most important part. For that, there are many things. And because of that testing, sometimes it may be compatible with my ability. Sometimes it may not be compatible with your ability. Which is not compatible with my ability, there is a disequilibrium. I do not know how to solve the situation. That creates some discomfort here, which we call the stress. That means stress is a natural process. Very rightly, my previous panelists, they have said, stress to hona hi hona hai. Right? It is natural. So it will be with us. We cannot say, even if many psychological well-being, emotional well-being, throw everything towards the child and just quote him. But stress will be there. Only thing is how to make the balance. That is the self and the situation. When we make the balance, how we make the balance? That is our adjustment mechanism. In that adjustment mechanism, because self is in the center, always understand in our topic, which we are discussing, on whom we are focusing, that is the child, that is the learner. So that self is very important. So the situation which he is coming across, how he is interpreting, perceiving, making meaning out of that, and adding emotions to that, that is creating the whole problem. So how it will be the well-being aspect, how it will be applied to the well-being aspect? That means when you are come across with the situation, understand the situation, then understand your capacity. There are some fundamental principles which should come with the mind of the youth. Any support system can instill that one in the mind of the child. What are those? Because I am a very practical person by applying all these things. And these are all my experiences. Because when you come to those things, what are those fundamental perception, or that is the background, or that will be a principle of the person, very simple one, that should be with everybody. And if it is not, that have to instill by our support system, that may be parent, that may be teacher, that may be peers. What are those? First thing is, if I am being unable to do it, it is only for the present situation. It is not always happen. It will not always happen. If I am not doing today, it is not written that I cannot do tomorrow. And even if I am doing today, also I may do or may not do tomorrow. There is still a, that means I have to live in the present and I have to try to find out the way to adjust to those things. Right? Then a fundamental principle, everyone should have, I can do. But to what extent, that is another issue. That to what extent cannot set my limit. If I will believe, yes, I can do it, then I will. Right? That these are the principles which we should have. When I am interacting, right, madam, and very rightly said, the healthy conversation. Right? How? What is that healthy conversation? To make a healthy conversation, that each child should understand the healthiness means I should have in mind when I am telling somebody, interacting with somebody, do I have that belief system that with whom I am interacting now, he is something else. He is important. Wherever we ask, we tell, advise, or anything else, it is other is feeling like it is coming from the top to bottom. So there is the questions where the implementation, well-being, everything is adjusted. A very simple reason regarding this stress, that live testing. See, this is one ball. Okay, आप लोग सब अभी ऐसे ही बैठे हैं, मेरा listener भी ऐसे ही रहा, right? They should be happy always. But see, what is the stress? Stress means that is a pressure, right? That is a pressure. Then if I am applying this one, see how the changes are occurring. When you will go to the psychological aspect, when you are coming access to the situation, that situation what is making the disequilibrium, there is giving a praise to yourself to think, to judge, to how to plan the strategy, to work and how to get the outcome. There, suppose I am keeping a very, being patient and just situation, what way I have to go, then that will be more helpful to understand. Because those is coping mechanism, always we apply the coping mechanism. Many times we apply the defense mechanism. That is one indirect way of adjustment. And that is unrealistic. Many times we apply, right? So like students is not doing well in the examinations and he is claiming at home that I will not appear in the examination tomorrow. Then that time what he is doing? By avoiding the situation, simply he want to adjust with the situation. He tries to adjust in that manner. That is the indirect way of a simple denial is the indirect way of adjustment that is called the defense mechanism. But he should learn the coping mechanism. If you want psychological well-being and other things, he should develop a coping mechanism. And what is that coping mechanism? How to deal or adjust with the situations. Active way, not an passive, in an active way. Then also, when this coping is needed, and all these supporters, counselor, our teacher, our parents, jo bhi peer educator, they will support them. When they will support them, always remember, it is not what you support, it is actually meaningful. So what is the meaning, what is the perception? To the student, this support meaning, that is more important. Because unless you will be, always remember one thing. We all are unique. Have this tendency of thinking in everybody's mind, also my parents, also my teachers, and also my students. Everybody is unique. No one is superior, no one is inferior. By judging one person in one incident, we are committing mistake. Being the suggestion, being the helper, being a parent's figure, and being a model teacher, whatever we are only destroying the center. Means the child. So always know this thing is very important, how to do that one. So the psychological well-being, it depends on how we are developing that type of coping mechanism. That, and one thing, situation will always create the stress. And this examination, which is becoming stressful more due to this pandemic situation, and many times time gap is less, and we are forcing the students to appear for the examination. That obviously that will create the stress. Then how to adjust with that one? How to develop that type of a coping mechanism? That is very one. Not avoiding, but coping. Because there are many ways they avoid. And simple way, we always preach. ऐसे होना चाहिए, ऐसे होना चाहिए, होना चाहिए. होगा कैसे? होगा कैसे? Very rightly, our Akhilesh sir, he said regarding the implementation. That is the core principle. Only one principle he has explained, but that is the core principle. That is, who is the implementer? He should understand clearly about the things. Because now I am involved in some way of planning implementation in education, something, थोड़ी secret work है अभी मैं explain नहीं करूँगा. But there I am following all the principles of implementation research. How to implement? There itself, who is in the center, he should be clear about what he is going to do, what he is, what is his identity, everything. Because whatever thing will happen, he will do or she will do. No one will do for it. We are the support system. Very rightly, we are the support system. Also, we have to change ourselves a lot. We have to think who is in the center. If I can make a space, little space in his or her heart, I think I have done my purpose. It is a mission. It is not a job. It is not a duty I am fulfilling. It is a mission which I am persuading. Right? तो well-being भाई ऐसा तो नहीं आएगा, उसी व्यक्ति लाएगा, उसी व्यक्ति कैसे इंटरप्रेट करेगा, whole thing will depend on him, and we are the supporter. We have to support different kind of effective coping mechanism. And one thing, it will take time. So sooner is the, yes, sooner means very quickly if you start it, immediately that will be the better one. Have some time. Immediately you will throw it and you expect that he will do. No, no, no. Right? Thank you very much, Shri Prasad ji. बहुत ज़्यादा बोल गया क्या?
Thank you so much, sir. We are always waiting for your words. So one of our viewers have a query. Mr. Sudhanshu Sekhar just want to know that how can we work with the students to increase their memory? So I would like to request my panelist to say something about this query.
Sir can say, I think. Memory.
मैडम,
I think Rat sir.
मैडम अभी मैं थोड़ी देर में
That's
हेलो मैडम थोड़ी देर में आ रहा हूँ, मीटिंग में हूँ, आ रहा हूँ. हाँ, हाँ. ले लो.
I think this is the area of Professor Rat.
Sorry.
Sir, one of our viewers
Memory.
Yeah.
Memory.
How can we work with the students to increase their memory?
कौन हमारे टीचर सर वो पूछ रहे हैं ये प्रश्न?
Parents.
Absolutely, sir.
Parent.
Parents.
Parents.
Parents is
अच्छा, parents. First thing is, I'll give you the fundamentals, and I'll suggest there are many techniques which are in. If they can find it out, that will be more helpful. But let me give him the fundamental support where they can understand the things. First is, when I say the memory means something, outside thing, my experience, which I am retaining in my mind. I will not go for any technical encoding, decoding. That aspect I am not. I am going in a very behavioral aspect. And thing is, if I am retaining it, whenever it is required, I can retrieve it. Right? I can retrieve it. Thing is, when I want to retrieve, how I can retrieve? I will give being the parents, I will give you one examples. Just a रोटी बेल देना एक करके, right? रोटी बेल के एक के ऊपर एक सबको रख देना, ठीक? Now retrieving process starts. You want to pick randomly someone from the middle. Can you make it out? That रोटी वो चिपक गया होगा, उस प्रकार की. Think about your mind. When you are giving the information, if that information is not properly understandable and kept in order, then during the retrieval process, it will be very difficult. How it will be understandable and how you can make it in the order. First thing is, understandable means the previous knowledge you have, already the experience in your cognitive structure, that can be linked to the present context, the present new information coming to you. And to make it properly linked, just to give some familiar examples which the child already knows. Okay? If that is coming in, then that will be properly understood and then just added in the existing cognitive structure in the mind. But how to make it a order that it will be retrieved. I'll give, suppose you are a parent, think over about the thing you organized in a sequence and in a meaningful sequence at your home, everything will look very beautiful. Disorder, then it cannot be appealing. Okay. To do that one, those knowledge, to organize them in a sequence, use some graphic organizer, like concept mapping, right? Like concept mapping. That means make those verbal things in a diagrammatic form, so that diagram can be easily retained in your mind in a picture form. Whenever you want to get anything retrieved, then immediately it will come. Because that is in sequence, in a diagrammatic form, in sequence it is organized in the mind and in a linking form. Once you are making the link, brain understand the proper relation and a meaning between the things. That will be very helpful technique. There are many mnemonic devices. Many mnemonic devices. I will give you one example because I work on my daughter since 1 year, 4 months on developing her the metacognitive in the cognitive architecture to develop the metacognitive skills. Right? When I work how it is reflected when he was in the 9th class. What she did, there are in biology, there are some explanation containing 6 pages. So it is very difficult to remember each one in a chain sequence. Even if in the classroom, we have never said our student how to take note effectively. They are always maintaining the note in a chain sequence. If you remember, in our professional development program, except Gaurama Madam, both are there with me. They helped me a lot, right? That's why when he is requesting, I am coming in forward because they have helped me a lot during my period at Bhubaneswar. So there you people are there also we have discussed how to take the note. And that is if the organized fashion that will be remembered very well. And what she did, she developed some point of the year, then took the first letter of the word, then put it in terms of a sentence, and then, Papa, I have structure like this. This can be easily remembered 2-3 words. Like a 7 color of the rainbow. Right? Oh, in Odia we used to call a Bagon Iswa. Right? And then Sari is saying in English form. To solving the simple mathematical problem, I always, for humor, I always create a Badmas, but that is called Bodmas, right? These are the mnemonic devices that will be helpful a lot by making association, and you can learn many things. That will definitely improve your long-term memory. Because short-term memory, information processing, I will not confuse it. But these are the many techniques, and there are a lot of techniques available in the net. You can see, but the only thing is how you are convinced that is the person who is developing his memory, how much he or she is convinced to apply in her field or his field. That is the important. Preaching we all are doing since a long time. Right? That will go on again. But, sir, thank you more time. Sorry for taking more time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Hope the viewers will able to receive the message behind all these techniques. Ma'am, we have another queries from a student, from a student named Sudhira Mishra. Ma'am, she just want to know that how can we go with the chapter which seems so difficult or so huge?
Yes, Shiv Prasad. Her question is how to go about when the chapter is big and huge.
Yes. It's when the chapter seems so difficult for to proceed with, or when the chapter
Yeah.
becomes so difficult.
Yeah. The simplest or the quickest thing to do is to break the chapter into
Parts.
aspects of commonality, like making it into chunks and remembering, and then identifying the concepts under each subtopic, organizing it, like how sir was just now telling about organizing to retrieve easily. It would be best to organize it in a visual form. If the student can create a diagram of it, it can be a flow chart or it can be any form of interest to her. She can allow her creativity to flourish and then note down the points and then store it as a one structure, each subunit. Then she can attack each subunit at a time like a small chapter. So her only problem is the vastness or the volume of the unit. So just make it simple as per, it's not as per her will, it is based on the organizational structure of the unit. Meaningfully it has to be taken. Meaningful, one meaningful unit can be taken separate and then learn it or read it from the way you look at as a small chapter. Anybody want to add?
It's okay.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much. The student will able to get the answer behind all these things. I would like to request all the panelists to give a message to all the students, those who are watching. I would like to start from Ratsa, KV Rat.
Message. Final message.
See, message means believe in yourself. You can win the world, not only the examination. You can win the world. Right? Thanks.
Yes. Tanya, madam, can you please?
Trust yourself. We all are with you.
Thank you, madam.
Anyway, Shiv Prasad, I am going to give my message.
Yeah.
When stress is there in us, as the stress hormones are released, simultaneously, parallelly, there will be support hormones also released. So we have to perceive those support hormones that make us deal with stress or win over the stress. Those hormones are there. I just would like to say stress is always there, and instead of waiting for the storm to end, it is better to learn to dance in the rain.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sir, can you please?
Yes.
Mhm.
The stress is basically because of unknown. Very rightly said by Dorma ma'am in the beginning. You see, we have a culture of remaining in a very secure zone. We all have a culture. Somehow, in the geographical part of the world in which we live, we have a tendency of settling down in the comfort zone. Remember, there is nothing to be afraid of. And this message is more for the children, for their parents rather than children. I like to give one small example. When our chief panelist, Professor K.B. Rath, was here, we used to have many, open houses, since many years, decades we are doing it, but that was one of the things I remember. One of students said, "Sir, how come there is a difference in the kind of system we are? In West, in some countries, I have seen child going to chemistry lab and something all of a sudden explodes." So situation is, in our system, the teacher will call the parent, the student, penalize the the child, and then ask for a kind of apology to be given without knowing what has actually happened. Whereas, in contrary to that, the other places where they will say, "Wow, how it happened." He'll call the child and find out what are the things that he did as a mischief. Maybe something new came out. So we are a kind of system, a kind of society we are living in. We have been creating a kind of fear psychosis in the children right from childhood. Don't go in the dark, there is an Hawa or a ghost. That's the whole problem. We like to remain in the situation which are familiar to us. We like to remain in the zone in which we are most comfortable. We like to see the processes which are known to us. We are always afraid of the things which are unknown. So the stress, I believe, of course, all the factors very well taken, mentioned by all the panelists, but I personally believe we have got a psychosis that whatever new will be there will be something bad. Rather than expecting something to be great, which is not seen yet, something new is going to happen to me, something is new going to be encountering me, where I'll be able to explore more, deliver more. Like a child who has always been doing mediocre range performance, and we all know whatever is the range of the child, we brand the child. You never know tomorrow the child will excel in the same field, because efforts are not going to be same all the time. The moment the child gets a spark, will find exponential performance improvement. The moment we child a spark, negative spark, will find that there will be a steep downflow in the performance. So my message to everybody is, teachers and parents in particular, let's not create a kind of fear in the children for something which is unfamiliar, something which is unknown, something which is unprojected. Let's welcome everything like a festival. Something new is going to happen, and for everything that happens new, remember, we are going to be adding to some special ability in us. We are going to be adding some special skills to us, and have a self-affirmation. Remember, we are unique, and everybody who is born with some kind of mandate that is yet to be discovered by us, where we'll be different from others. With these words, stay positive, remain very, very self-affirmative, and then there's nothing which can let you down. It's not comparing tables with the chairs and chairs with the almiras. It's recognizing the utility of everything. A good sports person is as important as a good scientist. Scientists will keep creating, nobody will utilize it. Nobody will be fit. So everything is dependent. There is a complete, harmony in everything. So we need to understand this harmony. This is not diversity. This is not a difference. So all the teachers, all the parents, be optimist. All the children, unfold your potential, unfold your abilities, and see the great times are awaiting you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. We will going to conclude the meeting, but before that, we just want to, say that we will also going to open the open discussion for students. So after that, they can share their experience, their thoughts with us. So here, thank you very much. Thank you very much to all the viewers, the teachers, the parents, and especially to all the panelists.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
चाय तो पिला दो।